taking the mat right now, the athletes in the men's absolute final here at the 2022 IBJJF No-Gi Pan Championship. On the left, Helton Jose Jr. On the right, Henrique Ceconi.
Some light hand fighting here to start us off. About 30 seconds in, a little bit of feeling out period. Not too many attempts to score just yet. Interestingly enough, Ceconi had an amazing showing yesterday. Obviously, we know he had a wonderful showing at ADCC as well, and then had a strong showing this weekend. But today opted to not compete in the weight class and save his energy for the absolute. I believe there might have been an injury in question, so that he was able to kind of come into this match a little bit healthier. So he did not medal in his weight division. But how did Helton Silva do in his division?
Davi also abstained from his weight division, decided to focus on this match. That's something that it's not uncommon for athletes who know that their opponent is only doing one match to kind of
follow suit.
To follow suit, make sure that they have a fair shot at the absolute title.
Adult female purple open class, Michelle Nicole, please report to the podium.
Nice head control here from Ceconi.
Ceconi's road to the final. In his opening round, he submitted Elder Cruz. Second match, submitted Clay Mayfield. And in the third match, he had a real takedown battle with Francisco Cuneo. Helton Jose is a little more of a difficult route. He had a couple of close scoring battles, no submissions, but dominant in his own right, and has looked capable of wrestling with the very good wrestler in Henrique Ceconi so far.
Yeah, interesting too. I mean, we have found Ceconi in this back clinch position in almost every single match that he's been in. He used it with Elder Cruz to drop back into a nasty, devastating leg lock that was very, very quick. He used it to score 2 points on the takedown, like a traditional back clinch situation. So he clearly likes being here. And we also talked about the similarities between ADCC competitors coming into IBJJF, looking for a lot of their wrestling that leads these back clinch positions because of the way the scoring is done in ADCC, right? So instead of trying to put people flat on their back, a lot of times the idea is to get to the back. But now we see a beautiful escape. He will be awarded an advantage for his efforts, but out of near danger right now is
Helton's game, too, is so top-oriented, right? He does such a good job of imposing his will from top position that this display of wrestling from Henrique Ceconi is going to cause maybe some questions, some concerns for Helton, knowing that he's not going to be able to take this thing to the ground and that Henrique Ceconi really has no prerogative to pull this thing to the ground.
Yeah, that was a tough eating of a foot sweep. I definitely do not think that that was intentional, but there was a foot sweep as there was a shot. Looked a little bit like a kick. So referees checking, making sure everyone's good, and they're right back into it. Definitely wasn't intentional. It was very ill-timed.
Show of respect that was just these things sometimes happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, Helton is so top game oriented, and he's very agile with his passing. He's very dynamic. I mean, if you just look at the way he's on his feet, I think he would normally have an easier time getting to exactly where he wants to be. But Ceconi looking very content to stay on the feet and wrestle. Clearly, we saw him get to the back clinch position earlier, so he's feeling confident. There's no reason for him to switch up his game, right? So I think we're going to see a takedown battle until, in order for this to go to the ground. I don't think we will see a pull. Especially not, we're 4 minutes into the match. If they're not switching their strategy yet, it's pretty unlikely. Nice throw by attempting to like a little spinning dance move there from Ceconi to negate that throw by. And we talked a lot about that yesterday in his match with Cuneo. He spins a lot. Yeah,
and a lot of it I think is just the confidence to know that Ceconi is not a one-trick pony when it comes to the wrestling, right? He's gonna maybe bully his opponent around. He's gonna take shots, but he seems confident that if the first shot fails, he has a follow-up answer. He's not the kind of athlete, not the kind of wrestler that's just going to try one attack half-heartedly and hope that something happens.
Yes.
He's gonna try and make something happen and have a follow-up shot if what he's looking for is not the right answer.
Feels very comfortable with the flow of things for sure. And that's a sign of like a very creative athlete, a very creative fighter, which we love to see because they're exciting, they're fun to watch, but also just ups the level of their confidence. It makes them so forward fighting, and it's really enjoyable for fans. It also usually brings out, in my opinion, the best in other athletes too, because it forces you to meet that.
Shaking his neck out through this match, I don't know if that was a factor. But look at how every time they restart, Ceconi immediately bullies Helton out of the center of the mat.
Right. I think that's smart. It's very intimidating to be on the other end of that, right? We want to always, and as I say that though, you know, look at Helton shooting in straight into a double. That is both of these men got to feel really confident to shoot directly underneath each other because those are big, heavy hips that sprawl quickly, that are dynamic. These guys will fly to your back. They'll jump on your head. And right as I say that, jumping on the head, but almost into that gate, which made me nervous.
This degree of edge control and boundary play is what makes Jiu-Jitsu at this level so similar to boxing, right? These guys are really always fighting for the center position because having your back up against the yellow edge of the mat for too long signifies to the referee that you don't want to be here, that you're looking for a way out, and that you should be the first one to get a penalty if we get to a point where the action comes to a slow.
Exactly. More spinning action from Ceconi. I like it. He almost took Cuneo down with it yesterday. He had like, what did you call it? His Polish spin?
A Polish arm spin.
His Polish arm spin. Yeah, it was good. He also used it to enter, I think, into a fireman carry yesterday, something of that sort. And even if he's not scoring with it, man, I can imagine being the person going up against that. It's kind of like, makes you nervous. Makes you think twice about how you're going to enter because, man, this guy is moving in really unorthodox ways. It's hard to plan for that. It's hard to know what to expect with that. And it's not the same as our normal reactions, our normal muscle memory when we're chaining 2-3 things together. Someone throws that in there and I'm like, man, I thought you were going to like do this or that. And I had a reaction to those. Now I'm just dancing. So it can, I think, make people a little hesitant to just shoot in their normal takedowns.
And it's that unpredictability that makes these young, new athletes really exciting to watch, right? It's as frustrating for their opponents as it is exciting for us at home because we don't know what they're going to do, and neither do their opponents. It makes it very hard to predict, and it makes it very hard to play against.
Right. Looks to be like there may be a little bit of fatigue setting in here with about a little over 7 minutes into this match, 2:45, and Ceconi holding on to this one advantage lead, but anything put on the board could change the trajectory of this match. And we see Helton continuing to try to find openings on the snatch single. He had his double leg earlier, jumped on the head at the edge of the mat there a minute ago. So now, yeah, Ceconi being pushed to the edge a little bit, circling, really trying to get back to the center where he seems to feel a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable. So it's interesting to see him put on the edge for a moment, but as soon as he circled back to the center. He did not want to stay here. Much rather be here on the inside, pushing the pace and calling the shots.
This is interesting by Helton that every time he circles to the inside, especially on the edge, right? When Ceconi's pushing Helton to the edge and Helton circles to the inside, he immediately takes a shot, trying to remind, I think, the referees that he is still working here. He's being bullied to the outside a little bit.
I think it's also a safety measure when shooting, right? Because it kind of feels like, okay, well, I want to take a shot, but if something goes wrong, then I can play the edge a little bit and maybe not get scored on or not get a significant submission put on me.
I problem, of course, with pushing your opponent to the outside before you shoot on them is that it's nearly impossible to score.
Yes, hard to keep them in bounds, right, on that finish.
And if you're pushing them out of bounds and then you shoot, the referee is not going to be friendly to you on the, on the penalties.
Just 1 minute remaining here. This is our last match of the day. It is a razor-thin margin. Ceconi leads by 1 advantage. Helton needs anything to score here. Now he's being a little bit more insistent on staying in the center of the mat, which is what he's going to need if he wants to score a takedown. If he continues to shoot on the outside of the mat, it's going to be very difficult for him to keep Ceconi in bounds.
"45 seconds of this match remaining. Just 1 advantage separates the two.
A little more of a lax positioning here by Ceconi, kind of not doing so much to shove out of bounds, not being so insistent about staying in the center. Just maybe slowing down a little bit with 25 seconds to go, knowing that he is in a winning position if he can hold on to this lead for the next 18 seconds.
We heard that an injury forced Ceconi out of the heavyweight division. I wonder if that has anything to do with the difference in pace between what we're seeing today and what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, because yesterday, I mean, he was just a firecracker, right? So
Ceconi celebrates too early, gets himself a penalty. That may not change things unless he is a little too evasive here in the last couple of seconds. But I don't think it's enough to warrant another penalty. And Henrique Ceconi will move on to be the 2022 IBJJF No-Gi Pans absolute champion here at Black Belt.
And your 2022 adult male Black Belt open class champion is Henrique Ceconi.
Ceconi and the rest of the absolute medalists going to take the podium. That will be the last match here today.